Hi everybody, I'm Chris and welcome to Board on the Floor. Today we are back with Solomon Kane and I want to do a full gameplay video showing you how to play with Providence, which is the solo virtue. I've gone through the Rattle of Bones scenario multiple times and I've only beaten it once. So most likely if I'm going to do a full gameplay today, I'm going to lose at a certain point. But fingers crossed that it goes well and somehow I don't get overwhelmed by the baddies, because that's usually what happens. The danger track goes up to 11 and I'm overwhelmed and defeated. But the one time I did win, I managed to do it in a virtuous way, so it turned out pretty good. To start off, be sure to check out the other video I did about how to set up the game. And I'm just going to go over a few things today, but that video will explain things in a lot more detail. So we have all of the components we're going to need for Rattle of Bones. That includes the 3 map tiles, all of the minis, the discovery cards, and of course just the regular darkness events, fight effects deck. I also have the sin deck out because some event cards might cause you to pull out a sin card and have that in play. But everything else should look the same as it did when I was setting everything up in the previous video. To start off with Rattle of Bones in Chapter 1A, we set our stats board to the correct numbers. And we have discovery card 200 flipped and ready right there, and 2 darkness cards to count us down. For our virtue deck, I separate it into 2 piles of 4. I take a look to see which one I have in each. And I'm probably going to hold this one. Let's start with that and put this one aside. My first 4 cards: Courtesy, Resolve, Interrogation, and Dignity. I'm going to put out Courtesy and Dignity to start. Courtesy will allow me to lower the danger track by 1 or add 1 light source to any one of these spots. And Dignity will allow me to increase Strength, Compassion, or Clarity, though I will have to increase Danger by 1 as well. To start off, I'm going to read you the description. Chapter 1A. This is a story chapter, which means that it's all going to take place in our book. The Cleft Skull Inn. Solomon Kane's long stride devours the miles as shadows lengthen over the black forest. He walks a quiet, lonely trail, though some miles back he gained a companion of the road, Gaston L'Armon, a dandy swordsman. Night shrouds the forest and their thoughts turn to shelter, food, and rest. Ahead, a light twinkles through the trees and they soon find themselves before a long, low, rambling building of heavy logs, a tavern. A sign creaks, swinging in the slight breeze. It depicts a cleft skull. This place has a foreboding aspect, meseemeth, Kane mutters darkly. L'Armon ignores the Puritan's gloomy observation and calls out, "Landlord ho!" The door swings open and a bearded face peers out. The owner of the face steps back and motions his guests to enter, with a grudging gesture, it seems. Within, a candle gleams on a table and a fire smolders in the hearth. Food and wine are served, after which the landlord leads the weary travelers to their chamber. The objective of this story is to light Solomon's path. So that means we actually have to add light tokens to the sockets over there in the book. Now, the outcome, if we choose the light path, we go to 2A. If we have the dark path, we go to 2B. We only have 2 darkness cards, so that means there's only really 2 turns for us to be able to light that path. If we want to add more, that's where our D200 discovery card comes into play. Ominous feeling. Something is very wrong. The place, the atmosphere. Solomon must inquire further into the mystery. And with this card, if we place a fear die on it, we increase the danger track by 1, but we get to add 1 darkness card to the darkness deck. And this remains in play for the entire chapter. So to start off, I'm going to roll my 3 dice. Fear, pain, and faith. I'm going to start off by placing pain and faith onto that, and fear into my reserve. So I get to place 1 light token onto the book. Am I going to replace my virtue cards? Not yet. And now it's the darkness turn. During a story chapter, we only go through and resolve that first line there, that first section. All virtues discard their left-hand action card. Back to my turn. Since I had to discard that card, I actually don't have a left-hand action. I can't replace it until the end of my turn. 3 dice. Oh, these are gone. So 3 determination. I have the ability to re-roll or flip one to the other side. Since I am just trying to place light for now, I'll do that. Flip one like this. Use these 2 here. Place this one in my reserve. Get a light token here. But I'm also going to spend this fear die to add a darkness card. Add a darkness card to the bottom of the deck. Move danger up 1. Now that it's the end of my turn, I add an action card. I'm going to put interrogation, which allowed me to talk for 4 or gain 2 mercy cubes. Now the next darkness card. -1 compassion. With the stats board, we want to try and keep most of our stats above 6 so that we could get those modification numbers. Because you can see here, +1, +2, +3. That's going to help us later on when we're performing some tests. The way the turn works in Solomon Kane, we roll our dice, we perform some actions, and then we move on to the darkness turn, which flips a card, and something bad happens. If we take a look at the player aid, you can see the virtue turn, start of the turn effects, roll 3 dice, flip or re-roll 1 dice, form your dice pool, allocate dice to actions, donate and reserve dice, resolve actions with allocated dice, place new action cards, and draw up to a hand of 2 cards. End of the turn effect and flip your turn order token. Then the darkness turn, resolve an omen card, if any, draw and resolve the top deck card of the darkness deck. The virtue with the next turn order token starts their turn, otherwise round ends. Some of these things don't affect us because we are playing a solo game. But to start off, we roll our dice. All right, so we got bravery and 2 faith. I just need to add more light, so I will take a faith, put it there with my determination. I can flip this one over to fear, which I'll do. Keep this in my reserve, and so I'm going to add a darkness card to the deck. Increase the danger track by 1. Add light here. And let's see if I want to replace these cards. I think I do, just for the heck of it. Yep, I'm just going to replace them both. These here, so I can grab 2 more. So the 2 cards I have now are Guile and Resolve. Resolve allows me to move 2 spaces or move 2 light tokens to different sockets, meaning I could probably move it over to my aura or back and forth. And Guile allows me to fight for 4 or gain 2 luck cubes. End of my turn, I'm going to flip this darkness card. -1 clarity, -1 strength, or -1 compassion. I'll do -1 strength for now. Roll again. I think this is my last turn, unless I add another darkness card. But since I already have 3 light tokens on my path, I think I'll just try and end it. Flip this guy. Add 1 more light token here. Save faith. Let's see if I want to replace these cards. No, let's stay with them for now. All right, get rid of my dice. Flip our last darkness card. Oh, remove 1 light token. Thankfully, that still leaves us with 3, which is a bright path, but having that 4th one would allow us another modification, because at the end of the chapter, 3, 4, and 5 light tokens give you some extra modifications that you could add to the stats board. So that chapter ends. We have a bright path. We get to do 1 modification. I think I am going to lower the danger track. And now our outcome, if Solomon's path is bright, we go to 2A. Insecure quarters. Kane and L'Armon follow their silent host down a long, dark hall. The stocky, broad body of their guide seems to grow and expand in the light of the small candle he carries, flickering as it casts a shadow behind him. At a certain door he halts, indicating this is the men's sleeping quarters. Kane and L'Armon enter, and the host follows to light a candle for them from the one he carries. He then lurches back the way he came. In the chamber, the 2 men glance at one another. The only furnishings are a couple of bunks, a chair or 2, and a heavy table. "Let us see if there is a way to make fast the door," says Kane. "I like not the look of mine host." There are racks on door and a jam for a bar, says Gaston, but no bar. We might break up the table and use the pieces as a jam, muses Kane. Objective, illuminate Solomon's path. Special rules in this chapter, we get to lower our danger track by 1. We are also on a story chapter where we're still trying to illuminate the path. This time we use discovery card 200 and 201. Distrust. I have seen you somewhere before, says Kane, though I cannot now recall where. Kane's eyes deepen as he continues. I am a light sleeper and slumber with a pistol at hand. The Frenchman laughs. I was wondering how Monsieur could bring himself to sleep in the room with a stranger. Haha. This is an opportunity card, which means we can use it, but we don't have to. If we use it, we will lower our compassion track by 1, but we get to change one of our reserved dice to fear, which allows us, of course, then to add a darkness card. Now we got to rebuild our darkness deck. So I'm going to put these in the bottom and shuffle them. Take 2 darkness cards. And we're going to roll our dice, start our turn again. As before, we're also going to try to add light to our path. And why not add some darkness cards? -1 to our clarity track. Story chapters are kind of a good time to take it slow and see if you can increase some of our stats and prepare for what's coming later when we actually move over to a scene. Since all we're really trying to do is place light, we could also see if we could do some of our other actions too, just to get a bit stronger. So let's roll. Place 1 more light token. Should I add another fear card? Change my actions. Replace this one to finesse. Finesse allows me to add or remove 1 darkness card. All virtues discard their right hand action card. Lame. So there's 1 turn left. I could go through this really quick if I wanted to and just get 3 light tokens, but of course if that last darkness card removes a light token, then I'll totally get screwed. Let's add a darkness card, increase that danger track. I'm gonna have to re-roll one of these. We got the same thing. Can't really do much right now with this. Kind of a throwaway turn. Now that my deck is empty, I have to reshuffle the discard pile so that I could have 2 cards in my hand at all times. I'm going to use Elegance as one of my action cards because it allows me to place 2 light tokens. +1 danger. My danger track is increasing quickly. So for this, I just need bravery and fear. And then the 2 question marks means I could use any dice there. Because faith is a wild card, I can use it to replace bravery or fear and also use it in these question mark spots at the bottom here. So now I just need 1. I have fear. I could use that. And these 2 down here to place 2 light tokens. And then I could also use these 2 to place 1 more. Let's see if that last darkness card is going to remove one of those tokens, but we have 5 there now, so that's pretty good. Ooh, wicked. 1 virtue removes all dice from their reserve. I don't have any dice in my reserve, but I did use that, so that goes there. choose explore for now. And we finish the chapter with 5 light tokens in our sockets. That means we get 3 modification bonuses. So I could move my danger track down 1, up my clarity 1, up my strength by 1. And because we have a bright path, we go to 3A. Chapter 3A is our first scene chapter. We're finally going to have some minis on the board and a different objective. Chapter 3A, what happened here? Taking the candle with them, they go into the corridor, sensing something more ominous at play. Utter silence reigns, and the small candle twinkles and glimmers, pushing back the dark. My host hath neither guests nor servants, mutters Solomon Kane. A strange tavern. What is the name now? These German words come not easily to me. The cleft skull. A bloody name, I faith. They try the rooms next to theirs, but no bar rewards their search. At last, they come to the room at the end of the corridor and enter. It is furnished like the rest, save the doors provided with a small barred opening and fastened from the outside with a heavy bolt, secured at one end to the door jamb. There should be an outer window, but there is not, Kane mutters. Look. The floor is stained darkly and the one bunk hacked to pieces, great splinters torn away. Men have died in here, says Kane somberly. Our special rule, we get to increase our clarity track by 1. Here we have some keywords and stats. So keywords allow us to identify different actions for characters. Here we have Gaston. It says he is a seeker and a vandal. Seeker means he's going to be looking for something. If we take a look at the back of the rule book, at the end of each virtue turn, a seeker will move 1 area towards the nearest X. X can be either a specific miniature or token. So in this chapter, the seeker will be moving towards the exploration token. And vandal. Vandals are destructive individuals who want to destroy something defined as N. At the end of each virtue turn, each vandal that has not moved this turn will remove 1 N token from the area they are in. As soon as the last N token is removed from an area, they take the action or reveal the card X. A vandal may not have an X action. In this case, they just remove N tokens following the rules described above. So Gaston is going to seek those exploration tokens, and if he's on an area that has one, he's going to vandalize it by destroying it. And all that means is it's going to be placed on a card. So to prepare for this chapter, we get 8 darkness cards. And then we get Discovery card 202 and 206. Discovery card 202. Ramsacked room. The floor is stained darkly. The walls in the one bunk are hacked in places, great splinters having been torn away. Men have died in here, says Kane somberly. When the last exploration token is removed from the board, reveal D209 and discard this card. Gaston L'Armon. Gaston was of a different type entirely, bedecked with lace and plumes, although his finery was somewhat stained from travel. He was handsome in a bold way, and his restless eyes shifted from side to side, never still an instant. Whenever Gaston removes an exploration token, he places it on this card instead. Remains in play until the end of chapter 5. So card 206 is going to be with us for a while. And so to set up our board, we get our exploration tokens. We get our spawn tokens. And then we get our minis. Gaston and Solomon are here. And then we have some shadows on the board. Because we are playing in the solo game, even though it says courage to be on the board, we are going to put Providence. Now that Providence is on the board, we can start to take advantage of their auras. We haven't added any light tokens to the aura sockets, but in this chapter, we're going to do that. The objective of this chapter is to find a door bar, so I have to move to all of these exploration tokens and explore. And you can see within the keywords and stats section that I can explore by doing a test. To explore, we use our clarity track. I don't have any bonuses just yet, but I can use one of my action cards. So I currently have Sagacity. Explore 4 or draw 2 blessings and choose 1 to place on the cloud. The number in brackets next to an action is the starting count. So if I'm going to explore using this action, I start off at 4, and then I check any of my modifications, and then I flip an event card. So the higher number, the better. So we're going to start off. I could move or place a light token. I think I'm going to place a light token to start to increase my aura to benefit from it. So next turn, I'll have 4 dice instead of 3. Because Gaston has some keywords associated with him, at the end of my turn, he will perform some actions. So the first thing he's going to do is seek, which means he moves 1 towards an exploration token. Our turn ends and we flip our first darkness card. Since we're in a scene chapter, we ignore the first section of the darkness card and we just perform the bottom 3. So we have our near section, our far section, and our spawn section. For the near section, we only have shadows on the board and we don't have any shadows in our immediate vicinity, meaning 1 spot away from Solomon. So we can move down to the far section. In the far section, we have the farthest shadow moves 2 to engage. That would be this one. 1, 2. And that is the only movement with this darkness card. Back to our turn, and now I get to use 4 dice because I am... Oh, no, I don't. One thing about aura is that you have to be within 1 area of the virtue in order for it to be effective. So right now, Solomon Kane is 2 spots away. If I add light to this plus aura socket, that means it's now 2 spaces away, but currently it's only 1 space away. Since I'm not in Providence's aura right now, I don't get that extra die, which is a bummer. I'm going to re-roll this one. All faith. Not much I can do with faith right now. I'm getting some pretty bad rolls. Ooh. Store these 2. Guess that's it. Gaston will move 1 again. And now we'll flip another darkness card. Once again, we don't have anyone surrounding Solomon. So we move down to the bottom section and the farthest shadow moves 2 to threaten. 1, 2. And that's it. Solomon hasn't had a chance to move close into that aura yet. Finally, in this turn, we're going to move. Now, if I move into the same area as a shadow, I'm going to trigger an event. I don't know if I want to do that. It's the only way to get back into the aura, and I don't want Gaston to destroy all these exploration tokens because I want to find that bar. Yeah, let's do it. Trigger an event. Usually events are bad. Virtue discards their right-hand action card. Remove 2 light tokens. Oh, I only have the 1. Increase danger by 1. Oh my gosh. Let I get a luck cube. Horrible. Twisted perceptions. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Can I do something else? I'm now in the aura. No, I don't think so. Add that there. I'll put that there just so that I can get 2 new cards. So now I have resolve and interrogation as my actions. Resolve will let me move 2. Interrogation is just for talking, which isn't beneficial in this chapter. Since Gaston is on that spot with that exploration token, he vandalizes it and it gets put on this card over here. And we flip a darkness card. No one's in Solomon's surrounding. We move straight down to the far section. Farthest shadow moves 2 to threaten. 1, 2. And we spawn on X. So far, this chapter is not going very well. I added some light and lost it. We already lost 1 exploration token. Let's see if we can do anything. We're going to move over here to this exploration token. And we are going to explore it. And so for exploration, clarity, we're still only at 6, so we don't get any modifiers there. We don't have any modifiers from our aura just yet, so we start at 0. And we just flip an event card, and we get a 3. Solomon Kane is a hero, so he always takes a look at the right number. And with 3, we need to go to Discovery card 203. Nothing. Kane finds nothing and focuses, renewing his determination to find something. All virtues place 1 determination into their reserve. Place the token onto DO6. Not so great. And in the end, I guess the token ended up in the same spot as it would have if Gaston would have vandalized it. I still have 2 bravery dice. Can I use them? I think I'll save them for next turn. Going to add the courtesy action card. It allows me to lower my danger track or add 1 light token. Gaston moves. And then we flip a darkness card. The farthest shadow moves 2 to threaten. 1, 2. And that's it. At least our darkness cards have been pretty good, because our rolls have not been that good. I'm going to move again over here. And then I am going to explore. Still no modifiers, so we're just going with this number. Let it be high. It's a 3. So 3 leads us to D203 once again, which is nothing. All virtues place 1 determination in their reserve. And we move this over here. This is not good. We still haven't found the door bar. And that's the end of my turn. So Gaston is going to destroy this token. We only have 1 exploration token left, and I can tell you from past experience that since that many tokens are on that card over there, the rest of this game is going to be very difficult. So let's see if we can at least try to get that one. Time to flip a darkness card. So we just have farthest shadow moves 3 to threaten. 1, 2. Because we were moving that shadow just to threaten us and not to engage, it doesn't actually come onto our space. It just stays near us to screw us up on our future tests and stuff like that. And we're going to spawn a shadow on Y, which is also here. So this is going to make everything way more challenging now. This chapter started off pretty good, and I had some plans with how I was going to play it, but nothing seems to be working out for me. All right, so any movement I make now, I'm going to run into a shadow. I either sacrifice Providence, and she could destroy them all with a shockwave. It's not like I'm using any of her auras right now. That will waste a few dice, so let's do that. Why not? I'm going to spend these 3 dice, and I'm going to move Providence 1. And by landing in the same spot as the shadow, it's going to create a shockwave, which will destroy every shadow within her area. That means within her aura, which means 1 space around her. So I move her here. She gets taken off the board, and these 2 shadows are taken out of play. And then I can move like this. And I think that's it. Gaston moves because he's a seeker. And that ends our turn. The closest shadow moves 2 to threaten. The farthest shadow means 2 to engage, but there's no other shadows. And then we spawn someone on X over here. And back to us. Because Providence is gone now, I'm probably going to have to engage with that shadow in order to move and explore there, which is lame. Move. Cause an event. Virulent Bomb. One virtue removes all dice from their reserve. All virtues without their miniature on the board discard their left-hand action card. Remove one light token. I don't have any. Place one Mercy Cube in the cloud. Not a bad event. And now I could actually explore. I'm going to start at 0 and hope for a really high number. Nope, another 3. So card 203 once again. Oof. We get one determination. And we place this token onto this card. When the last exploration token is removed from the board, we take a look at card D209. Is yonder not a bar fixed in the wall? Said Kane somberly. Aye, but 'tis made fast, said Gaston, tugging at it. A section of the wall swung back and Gaston gave a quick exclamation. A small secret room was revealed and the two men bent over the grisly thing that lay upon the floor. The lightning bolt is an instant action, so it means we immediately place one purity token and we end the chapter. Purity token, end the chapter. So with one token, we proceed to chapter 4B. I don't think this is going to be good. The betrayal. Is yonder not a bar fixed to the wall? Aye, but 'tis made fast, said the Frenchman, tugging at it. A section of the wall swings back to reveal a small secret room, and the two men bend over the grisly thing laying upon the floor. The skeleton of a man, says Gaston, and behold how his bony leg is shackled to the floor. Who would shackle a skeleton to the floor, muses the Frenchman. Mon bleu, 'tis a waste of good chain. Now, monsieur, he ironically addresses the white heap of bones, I have freed you, and you may go where you like. Have done, Kane's voice is deep. No good will come of mocking the dead. I would wager our host has something to do with his dark tale. Mayhaps it is best to leave it be and let us deal with him properly. The dead should defend themselves, laughs L'Armon. Somehow I will slay the man who kills me, though my corpse climbs up 40 fathoms of ocean to do it. Kane turns to the outer door, closing the door of the secret room behind him. As he turns with his back to the Frenchman, he feels a touch of cold steel against his neck, and knows that a pistol muzzle is pressed close beneath the base of his brain. Move not, monsieur. The voice is low and silky. Move not, or I will scatter your few brains over the room. So, Gaston has betrayed us. He now holds a pistol to the back of our head. And let's see how this is going to play out. We got to reset our darkness deck. We're only going to have 4. And we got to take out D207. Though D202 goes back into the deck. D207. Revelation. Gaston the Butcher, said the Englishman soberly. Fool that I was to trust you. You range far, murderer. I remember you now with that cursed great hat off. I saw you in Calais some years agone. Aye, and now you will see me never again, Gaston replied. Before resolving this chapter, for each exploration token on D206, choose one effect. Remove one light token or add one danger to the danger track. This card is the worst. So, since there are 5 exploration tokens on D206, even if we get 5 light tokens over here, this card will cause us either to remove them all or increase our danger track. So this is usually the reason why I end up losing this scenario. Let's see how it plays out. So we're back in a story chapter, so we could ignore what's going on in the board, and we only have to pay attention to our book. I'm going to make sure I add some cards, and I'm going to have to reshuffle my discard pile again. So I have Finesse and Resolve as my 2 action cards. Finesse allows me to add or remove a darkness card. Resolve allows me to move 2 or move up to 2 light tokens into different sockets. But I don't have any light tokens anywhere right now. So let's just roll and see how it goes. I'm going to add a light token over here. That's pretty much all I can do. Since we're back at a story chapter, it's only the first section at the top of this card. Lose 1 compassion. Add another light token. Let's add a darkness card, try and get a bit stronger. Discard that. I use these two. Just because. Dignity and Guile. I don't really care about these cards, but sometimes you want to cycle through your virtue cards just so that you could get to the ones you want. All virtues discard their left hand action card. Light token. You know what? I'm going to flip this. I'm going to add 1 danger. And I'm going to plus compassion. First time I played this too, I thought if I just add tokens to my aura, I wouldn't lose them. But if you don't have enough light tokens over there, you would lose these ones as well. There really isn't any kind of good strategy I've figured out at this point. It's kind of going to be based on luck. Well, lose that compassion. Add a light token. Let's see if we can do this. All virtues remove 1 dice from their reserve. Lame. I was going to try and use these to add way more light tokens if I added them to my aura and to there. I think I might have been able to succeed past this chapter, but that's not going to happen. Add 1 light token. Remove 1 light token. So, before resolving this chapter, for each exploration token on DO6, choose 1. Remove 1 of these, or add to the danger track. Since there's 5, if I added more to the danger track, I'll die. I could remove all of these, and if I have no light, I go to 5C, which is going to be bad. So let's see what happens if I just remove 1, 2, 3. This is dangerous. 4, 5. And we're just going to go to the dark path, which is 5B. All right, so let's set up our board. We have Gaston over here, Solomon over here. Oh, Gaston there, Solomon here. A shadow down here. Now this is going to be Z, and this is going to be X. We have our corpse in the room. And another shadow up here. And now we just have this token here because Gaston will be moving towards it. That's not so bad. Confronting Gaston. The Puritan rages inwardly as he stands, hands raised in the air, while L'Armon slips his pistol and sword from their sheaths and casts them to the floor. That's much better, monsieur, says Gaston, stepping back. Kane bends a grim eye to the dapper fellow, who now stands bareheaded, hat in one hand as the other levels his long pistol. Gaston the Butcher, says the Englishman somberly. Fool that I was to trust you. You range far, murderer. I remember you now with that cursed great hat off. I saw you in Calais some years agone. Aye, and now you will see me never again. Now, Monsieur Kane, I know you carry considerable money on your person. I had thought to wait until you slept and then slay you, but the opportunity presented itself and I took it. You trick easily. I had a little thought that I should fear a man with whom I had broken bread, said Kane, a deep timbre of slow fury sounding in his voice. All right, so 9 darkness cards. 9 darkness cards. D207 goes away, and now we need D208. Revelation. Kane gathers himself like a giant wolf about to launch himself in a death leap, but Gaston's hand is like a rock and the pistol never trembles. We will have no death plunges after the shot. For each bravery used to activate a talk test, virtue gains a +1 modifier to the test. For each fear used to activate a talk test, virtue gains a -1 modifier. For each exploration on D206, Gaston gains +1 to his talk tests. Remains in play. All right. Here you can see we have new keywords and stats. Gaston has talk, and he's a villain and a gloater. A gloater seeks to embolden themselves or belittle others by their boasting. At the end of each virtue turn, each gloater in Solomon Kane's surroundings takes a test against him. The base value for this test is N. Solomon Kane is a prisoner. A prisoner has been captured by his foes and is at their mercy. Players cannot move this character, though game effects can. The character may still take any tests that are available to a prisoner. Gaston is a villain, so if we take a look at our player aid, villain on our player aid goes for the center number on that event card. So when he's going to be doing tests, that's the number we look at. So let's start it off. Three faith. Don't know how good they're going to be for me right now. I'm going to reroll 1. And it's another faith. Lovely. I am going to talk, and then I'll save these 2. Now, because I'm using a bravery die to talk, that means I get a +1 modifier. My compassion doesn't get any modifier there, so I have 1 plus, I flip this. 1 and 2 only gives me 3. So we're talking to Gaston. I got 3. That means I flip over D210. Enough of this. Name of the devil, exclaims Solomon in anger. What do you want from me, knave? Is it money? Just get it and be gone. What good will come of murdering a man out of hand? Gaston smirks cruelly. My name is Butcher, monsieur. Is it not apparent? +1 danger. Courage must discard 1 action card. Our danger track is at 10. If it goes up 1 more, we are defeated. This is pretty much what happened to me before when I played this scenario. Like I said, I only made it to the end once, and I've probably played this about 10 times. So that was my first talk. Did not go well. Now, because Gaston is a gloater, at the end of my turn, he will talk to me. He has a modifier of 5 because of all the tokens on D206. 5 plus 3, 8. And when he talks to me, 6 plus goes to 215. Gaston takes aim with the pistol, his face dead serious. Any last wishes, monsieur? Danger track was at 10. This card makes it go up 1. At 11, I am overwhelmed by enemies and defeated. So that is the end of the scenario. If we take a look at the last page of our book, there's the loss by stats page. Danger. He may have braved many horrors and overcome many overwhelming nightmares, but this was among the rarest of moments that he felt afraid. Afraid of losing his life, his hope, but most importantly, his faith. Deep inside, he knew his divine call expected him to be steadfast in the face of such danger, but in the end, his mortal heart beckoned him to do otherwise. Major defeat. Yeah. So that was a pretty good example of how not to play this scenario unless you wanted it to end in major defeat. Each time I've gone through the game playing Rattle of Bones and I get to chapter 3 where I'm doing the exploration, I try really hard to explore and get high enough test results so that Gaston doesn't keep vandalizing all those tokens, nor do I add tokens to that D206 card. It only happened once when I was exploring in chapter 3 that I got a high enough test result, so only 2 tokens ended up being on that D206 card, which means when we got to this chapter, Gaston talking to me didn't always add, 1 more to the danger track, which would then push it all the way to 11. It only happened once, and I played this scenario like 10 times. So I know this is supposed to be like an intro scenario, but I find it very challenging. But as you can see, as I play, I probably don't spend enough time performing my actions or going through my action cards and strengthening my character or adding light to those virtue aura sockets. Obviously, the strategies I'm using aren't the greatest. Maybe I just lucked through winning that one time because every other time I usually die right here. But I guess this is a good example of just how the game plays. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I was hoping that I would get a bit further, but it's probably good so it doesn't make this video so long. But it's a bummer because I've been playing this game for a couple weeks now, and I don't think I'm getting any better. I understand the mechanics of it better, and I had made some mistakes originally. Like the thing about the aura is you can't take advantage of the extra die or adding modifiers to your test results if it's not a scene-based chapter, because Providence has to be on the game board and Solomon has to be within their aura for you to have an extra die or to add those extra modifiers. So at first I wasn't doing that. And in chapter 5, I really confused how the talking worked because when I was, performing a test, I would check the result on Solomon, but I'm actually talking to Gaston, so I have to check the result under Gaston. So I know I went online and I saw a lot of people confuse that, and a lot of people seem to confuse the way the aura works. So during story chapters, the aura will never work. And during scene chapters, the aura will only work if your virtue is on the board and within Solomon is within their aura. So those are a few things that I learned as I've been playing. I haven't actually taken advantage of the Mercy Cube or the Luck Cube. The Mercy Cube just replaces a die so you can put it anywhere and perform an action with it. The Luck Cube lets you pull another event card. I should probably take advantage of that, but I haven't. I had some blessings the last time I played, and those are a bit easier to use because some of them are just like increase your strength or like remove a shadow from the board. Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain to figure out what I could do differently as I start to lead up to this chapter to make it past it because I'm always dying here. So I guess it must just be, maybe adding more light tokens to the aura, lowering the danger track any chance I get. Maybe at the end, I think it was chapter 4, where that card 207 messes you up because before you complete the chapter, you have to remove all those light tokens. Maybe doing that differently, sacrificing more light tokens as opposed to adding more to the danger track. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. And I don't know if I should just keep replaying Rattle of Bones or if I should move on to a different scenario. Because I feel like, maybe I should really master this one. Because if this was meant to be the intro scenario, the other ones are going to be way harder. And I haven't figured it out yet. Sadly, I wasn't able to show you how fights work. It's only at the end of this chapter that you actually fight Gaston. And it's really interesting in Solomon Kane because you take 2 fight cards. So Gaston has a card and then Solomon Kane has a card. And then as you do your tests, depending on the results, different things happen and you have to pull out fight effect cards. And so in the fight effect cards, it tells you exactly what happened when you attacked. So it's interesting because it's different than most games where you just have a weapon, perform an action, attack for 2 hits. Depending on what test result you get, it is different. And with some fight cards, there's an A side and a B side, and sometimes certain actions will force you to flip it over to the B side, and then your fights will be different. I haven't had that happen just yet, but that is how fights play out in Solomon Kane. So yeah, I don't really know. I feel like it's probably a good example of how the game plays, but not a good example of how someone plays the game, because I don't think I did very well. But that's how it goes, I guess. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Lately, I've been losing a lot in these games. I don't know why. Today, my luck was horrible. I find every time I rolled, I just got the exact opposite of what I needed. Even though the game didn't play out the way I had hoped and I wasn't able to show you all the mechanics, thanks for hanging out. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Take care.